Happy holidays! I'm Donovan Jon Fandre. Welcome to Quick and Easy Holiday Recipes. Over the next half hour, I'm going to show you how to become a great holiday chef. Now, I can hear what you're saying, Donovan, I am not a gourmet cook. Well, don't worry, because what I'm going to show you isn't hard at all. In fact, it's surprisingly easy. During the holidays, we all want to spend more time with our family and friends. But you're probably running all around town, working late, and shopping for those last-minute gifts until you're about ready to drop. So I'm going to show you how to spend the least amount of time in the kitchen so you'll have more time to spend entertaining your family and friends. Quick and Easy Holiday Recipes is a guide to preparing delicious variety of foods just like these. I'll show you how to prepare tasty appetizers, colorful salads, wonderful side dishes, convenient casseroles, festive punches, and terrific desserts, all to dress up any holidays. You know, when the Del Monte people asked if I wanted to appear in this video, I was really pleased. After all, this is a chance for me to share my years of cooking experience with all of my friends across the country, and to show you how quick and easy holiday entertaining can be. If you've seen my TV series, Microwave Master on PBS, or if you've read any of my cookbooks, you already know that my philosophy is to have fun in the kitchen. I like to prepare foods that are both easy and delicious. So every recipe and cooking tip that I'll be demonstrating can be done with very little amount of preparation. And you don't have to be a professional to make them either. Plus, they all feature quality Del Monte products. By the way, don't worry about writing down these recipes as I show them to you, because the ingredients and the details are already provided for your convenience in a pamphlet in the video box. After watching this half-hour video, I hope you'll agree that your holiday meals never tasted better or were easier to prepare. Now, let's get started. You'll want to start off any holiday party or meal with some fantastic-looking appetizers made with healthy, nutritious foods that can all be prepared in advance, and they're perfect for home, office parties, or to take over to a friend's house. By the way, with all those parties over the holidays, we all have a tendency to eat too much and gain a little weight. In fact, did you know the average American gains between 8 and 10 pounds between Thanksgiving and New Year's? So you might want to consider serving only appetizers at your holiday parties. And for those appetizers, concentrate on more vegetables. They're low in calories, high in fiber, very filling, and just loaded with vitamins. The first appetizer is an antipasto party platter. Now, most people think of a plate of salami slices when they hear the word antipasto, but the word you're going to hear when you serve this will be delicious. It's a beautiful mosaic of colors and flavors. It takes only a few minutes to make. It requires no cooking, and you can even prepare it the night before you need it. The way to make this is to start with a can of Del Monte sliced carrots. Then you add about a half a pound of raw mushrooms, oil and vinegar dressing, stir it all together, and marinate it overnight in your refrigerator. Then, just before you serve it, arrange these ingredients on a platter. A can of drained Del Monte sliced beets, then a can of either drained Del Monte tender green asparagus spears or whole green beans. Today I'm using asparagus spears, and about a dozen cherry tomatoes, some sliced salami, and some provolone cheese. Now notice how all the colors are mixed here to make it even more attractive. Make sure everything is bite-sized so it's easier to eat, and then just let everyone dig in. They'll just love it. By the way, to bring out the full flavor of a refrigerated cheese, microwave it for a couple of seconds, just until the chill is relieved. And if you don't have a microwave, leave the cheese out at room temperature for about an hour or so. Another great appetizer is a cheesy asparagus spread. It's a delicious hot hors d'oeuvre, and it'll take the chill off a really cold winter day. You know, when I was a kid, I didn't like asparagus at all, but I must admit it is now my absolute favorite. It's a great source of iron, vitamin C, and it's incredibly nutritious. Anyway, for this spread, we start with a can of Del Monte tender green asparagus spears, drained and chopped. Or you can use Del Monte spinach, drained with the excess liquid squeezed out. Then you add to that some mayonnaise. You can use light or regular, and chopped scallion, Parmesan cheese,
and a little bit of garlic powder. Put them all together in a bowl and stir them up together so you blend all of those flavors, and it makes a nice consistency because, of course, we're going to use it as a spread. And after you've mixed it together, just spread the top, smooth it down over there, and also take a towel and wipe off any residue that accumulates on the side. Because when it's very thin like that and you place it in the oven, it has a tendency to burn. Place this in your conventional oven for about 30 minutes at 375 degrees. Or you can do it in your microwave for about 8 or 10 minutes, just until it's heated through. Make sure you stir it halfway to blend in all of those temperatures. The best thing about this cheesy vegetable spread is to serve it with crackers, because you can get the kind that are high in fiber and also low in oil. They're better for you, and of course they have fewer calories. Now here's another suggestion. You can make a bowl out of a loaf of round Italian or French bread. San Francisco sourdough is the best, and you can buy it almost anywhere in the country. What you do is to take a knife and cut the top of the bowl off. Set the top aside. You may be able to use it later on. And then just pull out the bread from the inside. Now don't throw it away, because you can use it for stuffing or breadcrumbs later on. There, isn't that a nice bowl? Okay, here's another tip for you. Take this bread bowl, put it in your microwave oven for about, 3 or 4 minutes is enough. And what will happen is that the moisture will be cooked out of here, and the bread becomes just as hard as if it were made out of wood. You can use it for spreads, or also it makes a really unique nut bowl. Again, this cheesy vegetable spread is great with French bread or crackers. And if you don't have a microwave and leave the bread soft, you can eat the whole thing. Another appetizer I love to serve is a timbale. It sounds like a musical instrument, doesn't it? Well, it is. Timbale is the French word for a small kettle drum. They're shaped like these custard cups. That's why when we make the dish and unmold it, we call it a spinach timbale. They're so simple to make, and this recipe uses a 15-ounce can of Del Monte spinach, but you can also use Del Monte asparagus or peas. The other ingredients include 4 eggs, 1 cup of whipping cream or milk, or you could even use low-fat milk if you're cutting back on calories, and 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. You might even add a little pinch of nutmeg to add a little bit of flavor too. Drain the spinach and make sure you squeeze out as much of the water as possible, because if it has excess liquid, it won't set properly. In your blender or your food processor, turn it on until it's blended and smooth. Now next, what we're going to do is to pour this mixture into custard cups and set them into a pan, and then add hot tap water so it comes halfway up the containers, up the custard cups. Now, the reason we do this is to slow down the cooking process, because if a custard, which has a lot of eggs in it, cooks too fast, they tend to toughen. You then bake this in your conventional oven at 350 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes, or until the custard is set. You can take a look and make sure that they're cooked properly. Just even them out with the remaining amount of the spinach mixture. And if you're going to use your microwave, place the custard cups around the edge of a large platter or the same dish that we used for the conventional recipe. Cover it with plastic wrap, then microwave it on high for about 6 to 10 minutes or until the custard sets. You may have to turn the cups a little bit if your oven doesn't heat evenly. Either way you cook this spinach timbale, you'll unmold it and you'll serve it with a warmed Del Monte tomato sauce. It's a great hot or cold appetizer, and you'll find the recipe in your pamphlet. When you serve your friends all of these wonderful appetizers, they're probably going to get thirsty. So serve them these festive holiday punches. The first is a hot one, and I call it a hot holiday punch. It's a great way to add some sparkle to your holiday dinners and parties, especially if you're entertaining around a fireplace. And all it takes is a 46-ounce can of Del Monte pineapple juice, or you can use a 48-ounce bottle of pineapple mandarin fruit blend, plus 12-ounce can of Del Monte apricot nectar, 4 cups of apple cider, 2 cinnamon sticks, and a teaspoon of whole cloves. Heat this in a saucepan on top of your stove for about 20 minutes or until the flavors are blended. Here's another cooking tip. You can garnish this punch with orange slices studded with cloves, or you can use pineapple rings with fresh mint. And by the way, before you insert cloves into fruit slices, poke a hole first of all, and it's a lot easier job. One more thing. You can fill individual mugs and then heat them in the microwave as your guests arrive. In that way, you're sure they'll be piping hot. Another quick and easy punch is called Champagne Sophisticate. You'll find the recipe in your video pamphlet. As always, if you serve punch or any kind of beverage with alcohol, be a responsible host. Make sure your guests don't drink too much, and also have them pick out a designated driver for the trip home. Every family loves a gelatin salad, and this one is especially good as a complement to your holiday ham or turkey. You know, if you can boil water, you can make this crunchy pineapple ring. It's another recipe you can just make the night before, and then you have more time to spend with your guests. Again, this recipe is in your pamphlet, but it uses a 15 1/4 ounce size can of Del Monte pineapple tidbits in its own juice, a package of orange flavored gelatin, 1 3/4 cups of boiling water, 2/3 of a cup of grated carrots, some coarsely chopped walnuts, and a little bit of horseradish for added zing. You put it all together following the instructions in the recipe pamphlet and chill it overnight until it's firm in a mold like this. Then unmold it onto a bed of lettuce and garnish it with a dill weed or a little bit of parsley, and that gives it a little extra holiday color. To top it off, mix this creamy dill dressing. It's also detailed in the pamphlet. Chill it and serve it with the pineapple ring for a refreshing, cool topping. Want another salad recipe? Well, try this colorful marinated vegetable salad. It's simply great when served at a buffet. You start with 2 16-ounce cans of Del Monte cut green beans, 1 17-ounce can of Del Monte sweet peas, 1 8 1/4 ounce of Del Monte sliced carrots, and all of those, of course, are drained. 1 jar of pimento stuffed olives sliced, 1 1/2 cups of thinly sliced green onions, and about 1/2 cup of slivered almonds. You want a tip for cutting and chopping, especially around the holidays? To be safe, curl your fingers under your hand and then run the knife along your knuckles like this. Now, the dressing for this salad is a simple olive oil and vinegar mixture. It has a little minced garlic, Worcestershire sauce, Dijon mustard, and powdered sugar. Add it to the vegetables and then stir to mix. You then marinate for about, a couple of hours, or you can leave it overnight. And then enjoy a great, colorful, marinated vegetable salad. Now, this recipe serves 8 to 10 people, and there's no cooking. You just open a few jars and cans, and it's almost done. And by the way, this is another salad that you can make ahead, so you'll have more time to be with your guests. Now let's talk turkey about holiday entrees. The most common question I hear is, what's the best way to cook a turkey? Well, there are so many ways. Some people cook it at 350 degrees for 20 to 22 minutes per pound. Others will cook it at only 200 degrees all night long until it's done. And I even saw one in New Orleans that was deep fried. The challenge is to keep the turkey moist and prevent it from drying out. Some people will cover it with aluminum foil. Others will cook it in a paper bag or those plastic cooking bags. Now, my favorite way is to use both your microwave and your conventional oven. The way to do it is to cover the turkey with plastic wrap, cook it in your microwave for about 5 minutes per pound or until it's almost done. Then transfer it to a preheated 375-degree conventional oven for 15 to 20 minutes. That way, the turkey stays moist because there's no hot air in the microwave where you're doing most of the cooking, but it gets brown and crispy on the surface in a very short period of time from the hot air in a conventional oven.
Now, if you have a combination microwave convection, you've really got it made. But remember to check with a thermometer for an internal temperature in the turkey of 170 degrees to make sure that it's done. Anyway, another frequently asked question is, how do I carve my turkey? Well, let me show you the way I do it. First of all, parade it to your guests and your family so they can see how beautiful it is. Then take it into the kitchen and carve it there. Remove it from the cooking dish. And first of all, cut the white meat from one side of the carcass. Slice a couple of pieces and place it on your serving platter. The other side the same way. Sliced and on the platter. Then remove the thighs and cut just a little bit of meat from each one of those. Place that on the serving platter. The same, of course, with the other leg. Then remove the wings and place those at the top end of the platter. You can find the joint right here. And it's not necessary to cut any meat from the wing. And there, all ready to be taken to the table to serve to your guests. By the way, the other day a friend asked me, how do you keep a turkey in suspense? He told me he'd tell me next week. You think he was trying to be funny? Well, here's a cooking tip that's not funny. How many of you put the wishbones from your turkeys or your chickens on the windowsill so they dry out so you can break them apart and make a wish? Well, if you have a microwave it about 20 seconds. You can then break it apart because it dries out and make your wish right on the holiday. After most of those holiday meals, we all have so many leftovers. Now, here's a great way to use up that holiday bird without having turkey a la king for 2 weeks. It's a crispy leftover turkey or ham chopped into bite-sized pieces. Del Monte stewed tomatoes, shredded cheddar cheese, and potato chips. I know your guests and your family are really going to enjoy this kind of casserole for leftover turkey and ham. Again, you'll find the recipe in your pamphlet. And just like all the others I'm showing you, it just takes minutes to make. Today, the preferred way to prepare stuffing is to make it separately from the turkey. This helps the bird cook much faster because the hot air can circulate throughout the cavity. If you want to try a simple but terrific stuffing, try this one. The recipe is right out of the heartland of America, which is why it's called Heartland Corn Stuffing. In just a few minutes, you can mix all these ingredients in a casserole dish. And by the way, the exact recipe can be found in the pamphlet that is included in the video box. So, just saute it until it's tender. You then add a can of chicken broth and a drained 17-ounce can of Del Monte whole kernel golden sweet corn, plus 1 egg, some chopped parsley, poultry seasoning, salt, and pepper, and mix it all together well. Then add the bread cubes and the cornbread stuffing crumbs. Toss it all together to moisten it and spoon it into a casserole. Cover it and then bake it at 350 degrees for about a half an hour. Now, if you're going to use your microwave, saute the onions, the celery, and the butter in a glass or a microwavable bowl. You know what to use. Cook it on high for about 3 minutes. Add all of the other ingredients and then microwave it on high for 10 minutes more. I think you'll find this Heartland corn stuffing a tasty complement to your entree, and it rounds out a well-balanced holiday meal. I've spoken a lot about carving a turkey and using leftovers, but if you're the kind of family that can't get through the year's end without a succulent holiday ham, have I got a glaze for you. Again, the recipe is in your pamphlet. It features a 15 1/4 ounce can of Del Monte sliced pineapple in its own juice, dark brown sugar, honey, cider vinegar, grated lemon peel, lemon juice, cornstarch, and dry mustard. Now, first of all, dissolve the cornstarch in the lemon juice. That way you eliminate any possibility of having any lumps. Add all of the other ingredients, including the natural juice from the can of pineapple slices. Now, if you have a microwave oven, all you have to do is place this bowl in the microwave for 4 to 5 minutes on high power. You don't have to watch it, you don't have to stir it, and it'll come out perfect every time. If you're going to make this in a saucepan, you have to stir it constantly until it's thick and translucent. After that period of time, you brush that beautiful glaze on your holiday ham. Bake the ham, and 30 minutes before it's done, paint the glaze all over the ham. Then 15 minutes later, place on there the pineapple slices and the cherries, and use toothpicks, or you can use whole cloves to secure those fruit onto the ham. Brush it again, place it back into the oven for the last 15 minutes. Now, this recipe is enough for up to a 10-pound ham, and it really adds some extra flavor to that holiday dish. Here's a couple of cooking tips. When you're cooking over the holidays and you want to reduce a sauce, do it on your stovetop. It's much faster and more efficient than using your microwave. But if you're going to reheat that holiday ham, slice it, place it on a platter, then microwave it until it's warmed. If you do the whole ham, it takes just about as much time as the first time you baked it. You'll have a great meal anytime in no time. Now we get to most people's favorite part of the holiday meal, the dessert. This first recipe is a real winner. You're going to love it. It's called chocolate cream cheese pear tart. It's rich, fruity, and chocolatey, and a sweet way to end any meal. To make the crust, the recipe calls for a little bit of sugar, 1/4 cup, which is about 2 ounces. Now, I know we're all concerned with calories and all the eating and entertaining we're doing over the holidays, but real sugar tastes better than artificial sweeteners. It cooks a lot better too, and it only has 16 calories per tablespoon. There's also a cup of chocolate wafer crumbs. Now, you make these from chocolate wafers. You have to crush them yourself. Add some finely chopped walnuts, a little melted butter or margarine. Mix all these ingredients together. You press them into a 9-inch removable bottom tart pan. Then bake this for, about 5 minutes at 375 degrees in your conventional oven and set it aside to cool. Now, to make the filling, you'll need 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. You can use your microwave beautifully to soften cream cheese. Use light if you want, it has less calories. 1/2 cup of semi-sweet chocolate pieces, and again, you can microwave chocolate, stirring frequently to make sure that it doesn't burn until they completely melt. Add a few tablespoons of orange liqueur and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, if you want, you can substitute a citrus extract or orange juice concentrate to make this a non-alcohol recipe. Next, take a 16-ounce can of Del Monte Bartlett pear halves, drained, but reserve about 3 tablespoons of the syrup for the filling. Combine the syrup with all of the other ingredients and mix very well until it's a consistency just like this. Spread it then over the tart shell. And smooth it out so it's nice and even. This is a good task if you have children. They just love to help you make desserts. Okay, finally we have to slice the pear halves. And the way you want to do this is to slice them lengthwise, but don't cut them all the way through. Just cut to about 1/4 inch near the stem end, just like that. Then you fan the slices, fan the halves like this, spread them apart, and arrange them over the chocolate mixture. Chill the tart for about 1 hour or 60 minutes, whichever you prefer. It makes 8 servings, and it's so rich, you'll have to fight your guests for every extra slice. The other dessert I'm going to show you is a personal favorite. It's a little different, but it'll add a lot of variety to your holiday menu. It's a bread pudding with whiskey sauce. In a large bowl, mix together 2 cups of milk and 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, cinnamon, nutmeg, and a little bit of salt. Whip this all together so it blends thoroughly. And you especially want to break up the eggs so they mix with the milk and form the pudding mixture. Then add 4 cups of stale bread cut into 1/2 inch cubes. Now here's the part that makes this bread pudding a little bit different. You add 1 16-ounce can of Del Monte yellow cling sliced peaches drained, and 1/2 cup of Del Monte seedless raisins. Okay, mix this all together, making sure that the bread cubes absorb the milk and egg mixture. Next, we're going to melt 1/4 cup of butter and pour it into a 2-quart microwavable ring mold. And kind of spill it around on the sides a little bit so it coats the sides, and then the bread pudding will not stick. Okay, now pour the bread mixture into the ring pan. And you can push it down with a spatula, or you can even use your fingers. Now notice, in the center of this ring mold, I have a little aluminum cap, and the reason for that is that there's a hole in the center of the ring pan, and if I didn't put this cap on, I would pour half of the pudding through the hole onto the counter beneath the dish. Okay, now we microwave this on high, uncovered, for about 18 or 20 minutes, or until the pudding has set. Now if you're going to do this in a conventional oven, spoon the bread mixture into a 9x12 baking pan. Get uncovered at 375 degrees for about 50 minutes, or until the pudding sets and the top is golden brown. Then we unmold the cooked bread pudding onto a serving platter. By the way, you can serve it just plain as it is there, but it's even better with a delicious whiskey sauce. And to make that sauce, we blend together 1/2 cup of whiskey with cornstarch, and stir this a little bit before you cook it to allow the cornstarch to dissolve, and then you'll never have any problem with lumps. Then we stir in 1/2 cup of sugar and 1/4 cup of butter or margarine. Place this on a burner and cook it until it thickens, stirring every now and then. By the way, if you want to make an alcohol-free recipe, substitute 1 teaspoon. If you want to make this sauce in a microwave, use a microwavable bowl. Cook it for about 3 or 4 minutes on high power, and again stir it every minute or so until it thickens. Now, you can pour this sauce over individual servings of the pudding and run for cover, because your guests are going to stampede to get a taste of this delicious bread pudding. Well, that's it. That's how easy holiday entertaining can be when you know a few cooking tips, a little information, and have a handful of great quick and easy recipes you can rely on. With this video and the recipe pamphlet, you now have all the details on how to prepare each of the dishes I've shown you, with all of the quality and convenience of Del Monte products. So I hope this will be the best holiday ever. And remember, look for other Del Monte recipes in your favorite magazines all year long. So happy holidays from me and the Del Monte family of fine foods, to you and your family.